Hi and welcome. Join me for a bottle of non-alcoholic beer and a chat about devices and your use cases. Thank you very much for joining live. It's good to see you all here. Remember, this is also going out as a replay anytime and on demand. But during this live feed, do go ahead and pop any questions, any comments in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. There will be a chance to stop after each little mini sort of section, and we will answer some questions if we can, and respond to any comments if we can as well. Okay, put the question in the chat. Remember, super chat is available as well. Just big thank you for joining. I have a question for you to start with. Do you have an iPad and an Eink tablet? And if you do, which one do you use more? I think that's an interesting question, really. So we're going to fire into the iPad. And this was a response, actually. This was a response to somebody said, why not put the iPad through the same comparison matrix that you used last time to talk about those other devices? And I thought that was a really interesting one. So what I've done is I've gone through and I've put that into the comparison matrix. And that's what you're going to get, first of all. You're going to get some chat through what I think about the iPad compared to all the other devices that I have gone ahead and compared recently. So let's go into this straight away. For thinking and decision making, the iPad, no, it's not focused enough for me. So I'm only going to give the iPad a 4 for thinking and decision making. It's not focused enough by some distance, really. For communication, it is really good at that. It is a really good tool for communication. I'm going to get rid of the banner. I'm aware that's now stopping you from seeing, and I'll just pop me to the side there. So just give it a 4 for thinking and decision making. But for communication, it is boss. But remember that the iOS is not necessarily better for these than any Android tablet. But it does hands down beat any Eink tablet. Of course, you've got that full LCD screen. You can do all of those things like Zoom chats. You can make video calls really well here on the iPad. This is an excellent device for communication. Video calls, it's really A+. Okay, but you're not going to want to type on it for any length of time, in my opinion. So for me, it doesn't get a full sort of 10 out of 10 on that one. Collaboration is good, but again, iOS isn't that much better than any other platform for collaboration. I think Android on a Max Lumi is, maybe just as good, not quite 100% as good, because the apps don't necessarily work all that well every single time on an Eink screen. So just an 8 for that one. So, but it does do really well on those two examples, communication and collaboration. Reading and learning, I just don't think you're going to want to read and learn on this device. I've put it on a par with some of the kind of color Eink devices, but I think for reading, really, you're still going for the crisp and clear Eink screen, black and white Eink screen. Really, you can't read comfortably for any length of time, in my opinion, on an LCD. OLED, you got more of a chance. The interesting thing about OLED is it doesn't have to be very bright to see pixels, even as long as the room's quite dim. It doesn't have to be very bright to read OLED, but this is an LCD screen still, as a lot of devices at this size. I think, but the other thing that does bring it up on the learning side of things is professional learning, e-learning, things like that. Of course, it is rather good at that. Things like embedding videos, quizzes, live tutorials, just being able to share your iPad screen. It's a really powerful way to teach. For me, you could use a collaborative whiteboard. It's pretty good at that. I really like the iPad for teaching. I've covered several videos on that one. Planning and organization next, 7, pretty good for that. Okay, there are some powerful planning tools and organization tools, well documented, things like Notion, etc. It's pretty good, but in the end of the day, I'd rather have my planner be an Eink screen and write on that, and that's why I've gone down that route. And then lastly, for innovation and creation, it is really good. It is an excellent thing for doing art or drawing of any sort. It is really excellent for that. And well, in my previous videos comparing the iPad to things, I have one iPad compared to everything else. Actually, it's not far behind a desktop PC in terms of innovation and creation, I think, and drawing, etc. And especially right now with the M series chips, The M2 they're up to in an iPad, it's as powerful as a desktop PC. It's really excellent. And part of me is actually seriously considering the Mac Mini, because that's an M2 chip for about was it $599. I'm sure I probably won't be switching to Mac anytime soon, but I will have to see what Intel and the x86 is actually up to when a decision comes around. So 43 in total, which is a really good score. The iPad does make sense for a lot of reasons, but it's not the thing for every single reason. And I think really, when I think about the iPad, I think it's the best across the board, but it's never the best in any one particular use. Now, this professional behaviors comparison that I've gone through so far, this way of comparing, I've already talked about this. It's a bit flawed, because on this, the Big Me and Goody Reader does actually come out as the top scoring device here, and I just don't think that that's correct. So I looked into making a new way of comparing, and so we'll come on to that in a little while. We're just gonna, I'll show the scores, but I'm not going to go into as much detail. But if you do want more detail, some more iPad versus kind of content, do let me know. The iPad is good, but it just isn't Eink. So I do think that this isn't the best comparison, the best way of comparing it that I've just gone through there. So here we are. I'm just going to talk about the sort of main surprises, really, and any kind of really key interesting things here about the iPad. This is my use cases. Okay, the use cases comparison. It's not great for writing. It's not great for reading, but it is one of the best tools for art. I'm actually giving it a 10. But I think actually a lot of people, if you're an artist, if you like drawing and sketching, I really do think that the iPad is an excellent tool for that. So do check that out. The thing is, though, I would rather read on any Eink screen than the iPad. And I'm not going to be using the iPad for any serious writing anytime soon. That being said, though, the Office apps are really good on an iPad. So let's not forget that. And especially for work, those Office apps are excellent. They do link in well with any of your systems in work. I think that they're absolutely excellent. And well, I actually went ahead and bought one of these for every single member of my department, and they do use them for teaching. They do actually use it for their PowerPoints, and they annotate on the screen, and people can see it. They can show it to their classroom in that way. It's really, really powerful device for teaching. Okay, so for work, actually, the iPad is really good. Presenting, as I've just talked about, using PowerPoint there. And for design, I've given it a 9, obviously, but it's well documented that the iPad is a very well-designed piece of tech. And actually, we do see it really leading the way, and we see lots of other devices kind of trying to catch up to the iPad. So it is a really excellent thing for it in terms of the way it looks and the way it handles its design. Lastly, the third way of comparing, well, the iPad doesn't have much in the way of its own sort of reading app. I mean, it's probably got Apple Books or something like this, but certainly isn't sort of giving Kindle or anything a run for money there. Apple Notes is quite good. This is Apple Notes here. There's nothing wrong with Scribble, but even the Scribble text recognition isn't as good, in my opinion, as some of the integrated text recognitions in the in some of the Eink tablets. So although it is good, I don't think it is, it's not so good for writing or note taking that you'd really want it to use that exclusively. For other apps, though, it's excellent. I do think that the Android apps are good, but the iOS apps is even better. And even now, you can get full Photoshop pretty much. You can get full video editors like DaVinci. You're just absolutely away with other apps on the iPad. It really is excellent. The pen and screen feel is bad. It just is bad. It's just not something that you're going to want to use straight out of the gate. It's you're going to want to put a paperwhite screen protector or Doodaroo or any of these paper feeling screen protectors, really. But it's still going to feel a bit like glass on paper. So it is still going to feel a bit like plastic on glass, because it is plastic on glass. You've got a plastic pen and you've got a bit of glass. So the pen and screen feel is really lacking down there as a free. The features are as good or better than any other Eink tablet, and they're bringing desktop beating processors to the system. So the hardware features on iPad are excellent as well. So you can see it's got a 10 there. Apple customer service is really good. I've got a bit of a story to tell about Apple customer service. So my wife actually, we had a really quite old MacBook Air, and it was 2011 MacBook Air, and it was aging. This was probably around 2016, and its battery died. We went into the Apple store and we organized a repair for it, and they told us a price. Can't remember what that price was, but it was, you know, 170 odd pounds. And they when we got there to pick it up, they said, okay, that'll be 230 or something. It was a bit more. And we said, no, you'd said this, and we've got it in writing and everything like that. And the guy went away and he came back and he said, okay, so we're absolutely right. That is the price we said. So we've changed the price again. It's now £0.0. Thank you very much. And I think what it is with Apple is they would rather you leave that Apple store, than rather you leave with a smile on your face rather than you leave disgruntled, because again, it's that they want that, you know, they want that buying experience. They want everyone to buy into Apple and sort of feel really good in the Apple store. They want everyone to come in and have that retail experience. And so they really did not want to let us leave unhappy. They didn't want disgruntled looking people leaving the Apple store. And that's an interesting one. So I do think that's quite good. There's an interesting thing about the cloud. It's fine. You know, I like the way that you can, get a new iPad, get a new iPhone, and it just brings all of your data, everything, absolutely everything carries across from one to the next. That's really good. And updates, maybe, can we finally forgive Apple? You tell me in the comments if you can finally forgive Apple for the battery, the battery gate with updates that they had, where they were kind of updating their devices to give them a shorter lifespan. Today is the Corona Zero, it's called. That's really refreshing. So join me with an alcohol-free beer on these live streams, and we'll just hang out. And I'm going to get to your comments in just a second. So lastly, just to sum that up, on this ranking, it still comes out at the top, but not by much. You can see here the iPad is, this is actually snipped off the things, but this is the Ultra line at the top there, which is 85. So that's the Ultra right at the very top there. And that is winning in both. And on this use cases, the iPad, you can see it doesn't come out at the top. It's around about a Kindle Scribe. Actually, I seem to have ranked it down there. So cool, man. I hope that's been useful for you to think about whether an iPad is going to be for you, or indeed if an Eink tablet is going to be for you. I'm going to stop and look at some Q&A now. That was called "I Put an iPad into the Matrix," which I thought was quite a title that might end up being a bit of a thumbnail later. I put an iPad into the Matrix, and here's what we found out. Fascinating. Okay, so any kind of questions, comments, and concerns? I've got a question for you as well. Before we get on to the next bit, which size is best for you, A6 or 7? Which A6 is the 7.8 inch devices, A5 is the 10.3 inch devices, or A4 is the 13.3 inch devices. So which actual size of tablet do you think is the right size for you? I'm just interested. Put your answers in the comments below. There's somebody who's definitely, Carlos has definitely pegged his, nailed his colors to the mast there with the Nova Air. Awesome. This is interesting. I was going to buy the Remarkable 2 today and started doing research, and I need the answers. Well, luckily there's lots of content on my channel. We even did a live just last week, with myself and Boyo and Brandon. That was really interesting, called the Great Eink Tablet Debate. So they look back through my sort of library. This is something that I talk about probably a bit too much. Can't wait to find a way to sync books and OneNote. Books, notes, and OneNote. No, I don't think you can directly sync notes into OneNote unless you sync up something where you could have a it save as a PDF and then a sync folder on the device that syncs into Microsoft. Somehow sort of work around like that. It is possible, but it's not something that I can just go through right now. It would be something I'd have to plan. But yeah, that's an interesting idea. OneNote, we could talk about that a little bit later as well. OneNote is an interesting use case, lots of people say. Have I ever tried a Surface device? Yeah, Surface devices are really very nice. I was going to talk about this because my wife has a Surface device actually, which she always goes back to using her older HP Envy X360, which is really good. I would honestly think save the money on a Surface device and go for that HP Envy with the Ryzen chips. It's really, really good. I saw a kid today had a Surface Book. Actually, it looks really, really nice. It's really smart looking tech, but is it better than something else? Not 100% sure. So my question, which is the best size for you, A6, A5 or A4, and why? Let's have a little think about that one before we rock on into that comparison. JK's asking about, and I want HDMI and screen mirroring supported Android notebook to teach students. Suggestions, please. Absolutely. I don't know why more of them don't do just straight out the OTG HDMI. I really wish that they would. Although there was a comment last time that if you get a display link verified adapter, it will just work. Okay, if you get something with the display link silicon in it, so basically it's got to be verified. It's got to have that microprocessor in the device. If it's got the display link chip, then it will actually work just directly for any Eink tablet at all. So do look into that. The iPad is a bit what's the word I'm looking for? Excuse me, temperamental in terms of what adapter it works well with. And I've found that even since the USB, where it should just work with any HDMI USB adapter, it's been a bit temperamental what it's worked with. Okay, so the reason why I asked you that question and let me know is because the next part is this part. I'm torn. I'm not, but this might be the question you're asking. I'm torn between the Nova Air 2. This is the Nova Air. And the Nova Air 2 is an iterative kind of update to this one. I'm talking between the Nova Air 2, the Note Air 2 Plus. Let's get that up as well. That's here, Note Air 2 Plus. And that is a very tempting device for a lot of you, I know. Talking between that, the Nova Air 2, the Note Air 2 Plus, the Tab Ultra is the next one. And the Tab X. I don't actually have the Tab X yet. That is something that will be coming on my channel, I am told, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I'm really looking forward to actually trying that out. And I'm going to talk about these and talk about how you might make the choice between these. So I hope that's going to be a useful thing for you books. If you're not aware of books as a kind of set of devices, I do have the big one, the Max Lumi here as well, just to sort of make that comparison, which is going to struggle to fit onto my screen the whole time. But what I'll have to do is go sort of solo mode on this one, and you can see we can maybe rotate that round. There it is. And we'll be able to sort of have a little look around the Max Lumi as well. But really, the reason why you're going to make this choice is that you're going to make it on the size anyway. So we'll be able to have a little think about that. So good that you want a Boox device. Good choice if you do want a Boox device, because I think that they are excellent devices. I do think is probably the best sort of lineup to do. And it is honestly just going to come down to what size fits into your life, because the software is very similar. The software experience is very, very similar. And although the newer ones might have better processors and the GPU and things like that, really there isn't that much of a noticeable difference in your actual use between the sort of hardware from one to the other, apart from the size. Software works just fine on all of them. Okay, there is another reason. If you're not short of a bob or two, then you might just go big, or you might even go for multiple Boox devices, and they sync across devices very well. And they've now added library sync, and Voya has solved the problem for everyone. He's worked out exactly how to library sync, and it's not as complicated as maybe it first seemed, I think. But the price is going to be a difficult one for many of you, especially if you're aspiring to one of the bigger ones, because that's like 800 quid for something of that size, the latest one, the Tab X. But if you want to get your first taste of Eink, then recently I made a video which was your best bang for your buck Eink device. And honestly, the kind of conclusion of that video was go ahead and go for the Nova Air 2. And I think it's excellent. I think it's a really, really excellent little device. Excuse me. One thing about the small size is possibly, I think I'm a little bit less neat on this small size. But actually, what I've been doing is actually reading on a Kindle app, and I've been making notes on the other side. So I've been making notes on split screen on this tiny little screen, and it works just fine. I really like it. In fact, it doesn't just work just fine. It's actually a really nice experience. And as I say, think about what fits into your life as well, because here I've got my notes on one side and my book that I'm reading along with that notes on the other side. This is on the Kindle app, and this will do it really, really well with a book notebook in the Boox Neo Reader app. So the Nova Air 2 is really excellent. However, I think if you buy this, it is good value for money. I think you'll end up wanting one of the bigger ones. Okay, so that's my kind of hunch, is that you'll buy this and then I think you'll want one of the bigger ones, because you'll kind of get into using Eink and you'll think, wow, actually this is going to fit into my life really, really well. So that is only really that difference between the way that you're going to use it based on the size. Software is pretty much identical. You get more power in one, but this runs everything, as you've just seen, perfectly well. It runs it just the same as the other devices. Okay, well, it's not the same. There is a reason for having the GPU. There is a reason for having a better processor, but it does everything that you would want to do on an Eink tablet. If you just want to read PDFs, read Kindle, make notes, the things that Eink is really, really good for, then the Nova Air 2 does really well. And this is actually the device that I currently put in a bag if I'm traveling. It does actually fit in a jacket pocket, and I've tried this before. Well, you need big jacket pockets, obviously, but it does fit. And this is excellent. So I'm just going to go for a kind of bunches of reasons why things that might be priorities for you and which ones you should buy. So if you want to just read in bed on this device, then choice is clear. Nova Air 2 is excellent. Okay, definitely. If you see yourself this replacing a Kindle, you're not going to buy a Kindle because you're going to use Kindle on this app, on this device, then go for the Nova Air 2. Do you want to read in, do you want to use split screen occasionally, then go up to the A5 size, because, okay, I've just shown it does work quite well on there, but actually, really, you are better off having a split screen. I need to be in a book first. Let's find the Kindle on this one as well. You are better off having a split screen of a large size if you're going to occasionally use split screen. And if you really want to use split screen a lot, okay, then do go up to one of the bigger devices. I'll get that up again. So occasional use of split screen, then definitely go for the Note Air 2 Plus, or go for the Ultra as well. Just as good for that, depending on a couple of other choices. If you want to use it loads, though, split screen loads, then tell you what, go for the big one. That's going to put that back up. I will just solo that one. And again, you can go Kindle, or you can go Word, you can go just about anything. And then I can go into split screen here. It's the way around, apparently. And I can get my notes on this side. And you might notice that it's got all of the same notepads as you've seen on the other ones, because it just syncs between these different devices. One choice might be just to go for all three if money is absolutely no object, or go for the big one, and the little one might be another choice to go for as well. Okay, so I do think if you're going to use split screen a lot, then there are reasons to go for the larger screen device. If you want to do a lot of writing and editing, and it's not the Max Lumi you'd buy, by the way, it's the Tab X, and I'm seeing this as pretty much equivalent as the Tab X, because that's the one you'd buy currently, because they don't have any more of the Lumis anyway. Where was I up to? If you do a lot of writing or editing, then go for the Ultra. Go for the Ultra for sure, because especially if you edit your own writing or edit for somebody else, then having a keyboard is really very, very useful. And what you can do with the Ultra, I'll pop it in its keyboard case. I've shown this quite a lot in videos before. is you can prop it up like so into the keyboard, and then you have the full set of keys that you can use to make those changes to your typed text. And the keyboard case is really, really nice. Keyboard is large enough for some kind of casual typing. It wouldn't be for long term, lots and lots of typing, but better than an iPad keyboard in my opinion. It's really, really nice. If you edit text, this is excellent. And you can still use the voice input, and you can type as well if you need to at the same time. It's excellent. So one way to use voice is to say things, and then it gets the occasional thing wrong, and then you can change it with the keyboard. But actually making those changes is far easier with a full keyboard or occasional word. It's not recognizing, so you can type it out quickly and off you go. Do you want to use a lot of different apps? If you want to use a lot of different apps, then the Tab Ultra or indeed the Tab X will be excellent at that as well. The Ultra, the GPUs and the Tab X and the Tab Ultra, they are excellent for handling that range of different apps, and they do a better job, not a perfect job yet, of optimizing apps for Eink. So it's really good. If you are absolutely used to that A4 size, then if you read a lot of A4 documents, or your planner has been A4 for a long time, and that might be why I like the large screen tablet so much, is because my planner has been A4 size planner for some time. And I think that if you really like reading on a big size, then I think definitely go for the Tab X. If you need it to fit in a pocket, then you know what the answer is to there. That's the Nova Air. And if you've not got much room on your desk, that's another one. I've got a nice big desk with lots of spaces, as you can tell. I did a review of everything on my desk recently, which you should definitely check out. If you've not got much room, then definitely go for the Note Air 2 Plus or the Ultra, because that size will fit next to your keyboard really well, and you'll be able to use that really well. But if you have got lots of room, and if you're going to generally work with a device in the same place, then go the Tab X. Cool. Well, that concludes that bit about whether you should buy the small, medium, or the large in the Boox. Great choice if you're going for a Boox, by the way. It is a really excellent thing. Questions in the chat. I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A before we go and we look at a couple of pieces of news. Let's have a little look, see if I can answer any questions or respond to any comments just now. I have a question for you as well, which is screen share something that you use and wish to use? We talked about it over HDMI. Yes, I do wish that devices would just let you use screen share by HDMI, because most of the time you can just plug into an HDMI and go. So join me with a non-alcoholic beer tonight. It's the Corona Cero, which is really very tasty, actually. I'm enjoying that. Not sponsored, but just to have a nice relax. It's the evening time here. I know some of you will be in the United States, and it'll be sort of afternoon time just there, all over the world as well. So yeah, some interesting one. Thank you for this channel. Thank you very much. Thanks just for joining me. Really awesome to see you. A5X is the king. Yeah, I guess that's the size. Going to talk a little bit towards the end about that one when we talk about, well, the title of this this live stream. Nova 2 cheap wireless keyboard on the go. Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. What a great device. It's fantastic, that little tiny little device, and typing on it is a really good experience if you can couple it with a good keyboard. A5X is still missing a lot of features. Yeah, we're going to talk about that just now, because one of the pieces of news is about the A5X updates. Yeah, the way they care for their device is really lovely, isn't it? How's the Lumi in portrait mode, scientific articles? That's the way to go. I mean, that's design and NASA. That is the way to go if you are somebody who reads a lot of scientific articles. Anything that's published as PDFs at A4 size, go Max Lumi or now Tab X, right? Absolute no-brainer there. No, it's not that heavy. Surprisingly not heavy. Surprisingly not heavy. A lot of people ask that. I'm a bit surprised really when I pick it up. It's kind of like, it just doesn't feel, it probably is as heavy as the other devices, probably is heavier, but it doesn't, it's not like dense. It doesn't feel like a lump. It feels like, like a large, sort of that size of a magazine almost. There's not much heavier than a magazine really. Going to bed. Good night, everyone. Yeah, cool. Yeah, good night to you, Carlos. Agree with books. Yeah, absolutely. Just like my Supernote so much as well. Yes, I know. Yeah, and that's it. I think if it does everything you need it to do, Supernote is fantastic. It's such a delightful device to use. It just is. I use it. I'm currently using it as my daily at work at the minute. So it's my work notebook, and I love every moment. Every time I pull out the pen, I just enjoy writing on it really massively. Yeah, HDMI or USB-C to a portable monitor screen for sharing would be interesting. Absolutely. I think that they should just let people do that. I don't know why every device doesn't. They've all got OTG capability. So why not just let us do HDMI out as well? Who knows? Okay, so we're going to fire into the news next. Here we go. I'm going to pop that back down again. Is screen share something that you wish to use? And both of these pieces of news have something in common, which is talking a little bit about screen share. This first bit, paper is temporarily sold out. And it says temporarily. If you have been using paper, has anyone got a paper? Pop in the chat if you've got a Quirklogic paper. Because if you do, then you're likely to have received the same email as me. And we're really wondering now what is next for the Quirklogic paper. Great device, really interesting ecosystem that it lived on. It was the Sony hardware. I'm trying to charge it back up again, but unfortunately it's been sat on the charger for some time. I think it might just need to do an absolutely full charge before it wakes back up again. But I haven't used it in a little while, and it has therefore died like this. But it was an excellent device. It's a real high watermark in terms of the pen feel. I like the fact that it's got a lovely rough screen, and it's got a couple of choices of nibs. It's a really good device, but unfortunately, we just got an email recently, and well, I'll read a little excerpt from this email. I think the question is, are we looking forward to a new platform, or is this actually just the Quirklogic going out of business and decided to call it a day? Because it says the Inkworks service will no longer be available from the 1st of March. Paper will still work. You can still use Google Drive and Dropbox, but you won't be able to access cloud, workbooks, and the Quirklogic portal. And that was the best thing about it, really, the portal, because what you could do in a web browser is you could show any document that lived on the paper. You could show any document, and separately to the document, you could zoom around on the screen that you were showing it on to go to a completely different place than you were looking at on this device. And people could remote in from all different devices. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed teaching with this device. I really did enjoy that. And unfortunately, it's the end of the cloud. Now, I've read this email a couple of times. There's nothing in this device, nothing in this email that suggests exciting news is coming. It's not like we're closing Inkworks because we're replacing it with something better. It just seems like it's the end of the road for them. I know they've stopped doing the Quiller. It says temporarily sold out, but I think that might be just a placeholder, really. Because now, if we've not got a platform, that's the heart of the device, really, what was that platform, because it's Sony hardware anyway. They were talking about a Paper 2, and I was really excited about a Paper 2. I did email my contact at Quirklogic to ask them for any comment. Not just to think they haven't got back to me. There's not like they've refused to comment or anything like that, but they haven't got back to me. So I think it might be the end of the road for the Quirklogic paper, which is a real shame because it was a very good device for teaching. One thing I loved about it, I used to sit like this at my desk at school, and I would have half of the device would be my notes, my lesson plan, basically the things I was going to talk through, and then this half would be what I was sharing on the screen. And I could zoom around. I could write whilst the kids were still writing everything. I could be sketching out the next little part, or I could be working on a problem. I could zoom in and out here, zoom in and out on my laptop, which was being displayed on the big screen at the front of the classroom as well. So, fingers crossed that actually I'm reading that wrong, but I do not think they would put out any kind of email if there was exciting news without saying there was exciting news coming. So unfortunately, I think that might be the end of the road. So Supernote have added screen sharing, because you're absolutely right. It was a good comment. You're absolutely right. Supernote does need to catch up on some extra features, really. But Supernote have added screen share, and it looks like it's going to be excellent, quite frankly. It looks like it's going to be really, really good. And how it's going to work, I've just put a screenshot here from Brandon's video, which is really, really good. But how it's going to work is just going to be that from the top here, at any point, there'll be a box for screen share, and you'll be able to just share with any device which is on the same Wi-Fi network. So that's going to work really quite well, I think. So as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you will just go to, it will tell you what the URL that you need to go to is. It's just, you know, a 192 dot, that type of URL. And you can just bookmark that in your browser, and you can therefore screen share directly from this device. It will show everything on the screen, and it shows it really quickly as well. So I'd encourage you to go and check out Brandon's video. If you haven't already, definitely check out his channel as well, and give him some thumbs ups and subs there as well. It's still in beta. It's not going to come immediately, but it's, you know, it's absolute no-brainer. It seems to run a sensible way. I do think so. The difference between the way that runs and the Quirklogic runs is the Quirklogic is updating a cloud document. Excuse me. And then you were looking at that same cloud document constantly being updated, of course. You were looking at that from a different computer, whereas this is just sending it to a web page which isn't on the internet, just a HTML web page, and you were just accessing that within a browser. So it shows you everything on the screen, but it doesn't upload anything backwards and forwards all the time. So you can't run it from any computer. Whereas even with Quirklogic, I could be presenting to you, you know, you could have the Quirklogic cloud open on your computer at home, and you could be looking at the same thing as me on my screen. And you could, if you're interested in part of the document, you could go off and work over here. You could add notes to it yourself as well. So, you know, I think that it would be nice to see the option to be able to share for the whole internet rather than just on your local Wi-Fi. But it's great for a start because, well, I imagine what I will end up doing is probably put the device, when I want to screen share, I'll put this device on the hotspot on my phone. I'll put my computer on hotspot because it's at school and my phone isn't on the Wi-Fi network at school. And this isn't either. And I will put both things on the hotspot network, and then I will just go to that URL and share this on screen. It will work really, really well. I think with that slight moment where I have to actually link up the hotspot and things like that, but that doesn't take that long. Okay, so I'll just have a really quick look. A couple of other comments coming in, which Eink is best for real writers. Great question. I think that's yeah, something that I'm going to talk about. I talked about it in the Kindle, didn't I? That actually, if you're any type of writer with a real audience other than yourself, and I don't want to be big-headed, I mean, like literally you're writing for anything that isn't just your own notes, then you don't want the Kindle Scribe, that's for sure. But this would be an excellent device for that. Okay, and the reason for that is because of the go for the last opened note. Well, I need to find it. I think the handwriting recognition. So if I go into my notes here, I've been working on one recently, which was one of their new advanced notes type thing here. And it's a real pleasure to write. I hope you can kind of see this, but the way your handwriting looks and the way that feels to write there is really, really lovely. And then you can go into there, text recognition, and there you go. It's recognized everything. So a quick read, interruptions, people are going to be distracting too. Set your DNS, so do not disturb mode, let people know that you need to focus. So it's not got it absolutely perfect, but it's close enough. And what I'll be able to do is get this from the Supernote web app and then copy it in and do some typing. You can add a Bluetooth keyboard into this as well. That would be really, really good. But whereas what you get on the Ultra is you get that keyboard built into the case, that would be lovely just to be written out by hand and then flip it on its side and just make the edits with the keyboard there and then on the device. So that's really, really good. Supernote is for those who write, and that is accurate in my opinion. So I think it's between that currently and the Ultra. I just think for real writers, probably you're quite quick on a keyboard. What else the Ultra has, apart from this, it also has the voice recognition as well. So if you do need to generate a lot of content quite quickly, and you're not going to be lazy and go and use AI like so many people think that they will, you can not only can you type quickly on here, but also you can use voice recognition to get your content out quickly as well. So good question. I'd say it's between those two. Do you want to mainly use a keyboard, or do you want to, and this does great handwriting recognition as well, by the way, so do all the Boox devices. But and I think there's a real, there's a real romance for me. I do think I kind of really imagine just sitting and writing out a full novel on this thing, with the pen, and really enjoying every moment of it. Is the experience quite there where you definitely want to do that rather than type into Word on a laptop or a Chromebook or something like that? I'm not 100% sure, but this is definitely the device for those who write. So definitely look into this one and the Tab Ultra. They're both excellent. Last question before we move on. Do you think there'll be a 13.3-inch color? Will it be released? Yes. Will it be released this year? Probably not. I just don't think so. I think a lot of people are being a lot of companies are being a little bit careful about the color thing, because they think either that the colors just aren't great on the Kaleido screen and the refresh is not very good and the resolution's not great, or the gallery, the colors are fabulous. Apparently, we've just seen it on videos a few times, hoping to get a galleon to look at that. But then the refresh is very, very bad, like sort of unusable bad. So we will see. So they are, Galley is a 7.8-inch screen. The Sony they do a color at a 10.3. The Big Me's are obviously color at 10.3. I don't think that Eink really, they exist, but they're really pushing them for signs currently, rather than signage, rather than the use for Eink tablets. But they'll come, but it just won't be this year, I don't think. Good question. Any data privacy concerns using Boox, Desmond? I've said this a couple of times. I don't feel totally like expert enough to make full comment. I don't keep sensitive data on my Boox device. I don't use it for school data. I don't use it for kids data, stuff like that, anything like that. It is now a US server that you're logging onto, or an EU server that you can log onto. So you've not got too much of a worry in terms of different standards of security, etc. But it's just, the thing is about them whether they've released their source code or not. Because if we saw their source code, you'd know there'd be no privacy issues. But I do think that it's worth considering that. If you're going to use it for sensitive data, Boox might not be the device for you. And that's one thing about Quirklogic that was really good, because they would actually build you a secure server before you'd have your notes only ever live on your own server if you were a company that had real concerns about keeping things private. So yes, data privacy, I'd love to write a full video on that, and I hope I will one day, but I need to make sure that I'm giving you accurate advice, otherwise it's not worth me doing it. Okay, I'm going to fire into these, but the next bit is the devices that I've loved using the most. So do fire in with the questions, but why not? I'll just talk about these quickly. Look, Eink for reading the notes in PDF. Not the biggest, standing in front of people and having a speech. Any suggestions? Nova or the smaller update? So you want to make notes onto a PDF, and you want to read. If you want to read for pleasure, then you can go small. But I think if you're reading for pleasure, then possibly the Nova is the way to go, because you'll want to use things like a Kindle app. Yes, there's a Kindle app on the Supernote, which is fine, but it's not just Kindle. You can get so many different apps. You can read from so many different places on the Boox device. Both of them work well for writing on PDFs. That's what I do almost exclusively on this. I use the notes occasionally to do this kind of long form writing, but really everything lives on a planner, which is a PDF document for me. And I just sort of have my daily, what I need to do each day laid out like this. And I just sort of make my plans for the week or the fortnight ahead. And yeah, it's excellent for both. So if you want to make notes onto PDF, they're both excellent. Which is the best for academic work? Definitely for academics, I would be going Boox, and I would be going big because I just think that this size of screen, if you're going to have this size of screen with academic PDFs, is just absolutely brilliant. Exit the split screen. Let's go back. Let's go back to vertical mode, screen rotate, and full size PDF reading. I've got any PDFs in the books library? Probably not. I will have in my own library. Bear with. I got here this, for instance. This is a mark scheme. Or it's not. It's a checklist of some description, and you can see it's excellent on this size. Yeah, really great. I'm going to pause the questions just now, if that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and fire into the last bit, the bit which is actually the title of the show. Which I'm going to ask you another question. Which e-ink devices, well, no, which devices e-ink or otherwise have you loved using? Now, it's not just what are the best, but what have you really, really enjoyed using? Because I think that's a really important question. So these next bit, I don't tend to share this kind of such a personal kind of experience. This is why I do the comparisons with ranking, and I hope to make things more objective that way. But I'm just going to reel off 5, and they're in order from least loved to most, although I loved using all of these because I've used more than 5 devices. So these are my top 5 loved e-ink devices. Okay, this is my personal experience, and it's totally subjective to my use case. Of course it is. But these are, I can hand on heart say that when I've had these in my bag, when I've used these at work, when I've used these at home, these are devices that I've absolutely loved. It's not my current recommendation particularly because they might be a bit older, but this is the experience I did have and how they worked for me. This is not in the top 5, but I'm going to give special mention to the Remarkable 1, okay, because I bought the Remarkable 1 just as the Remarkable 2 was coming out, and I did really love the Remarkable 1 straight from the offset. And I drew this on the Remarkable 1, so this has obviously come through in the cloud from my Remarkable 1, this particular drawing of my daughter. That was some of her drawings straight away afterwards. And I did love using that. Absolutely, I did love using the Remarkable 1, and I have enjoyed using the Remarkable 2, although it's not going to be in my top 5. And I think that I bought it just when it was coming out, and it absolutely changed my world at work. Okay, I went from using scraps of paper, large heavy planners, and then I had an all-in-one solution for my notebooks, for my planner, everything. So I used to carry around, you know, a large A4 notebook and a planner which had the whole year in it. And I'd also have scraps of paper that people gave me that I annotated and stuff like that. And I was sold on e-ink straight away because all of a sudden I just had this one lightweight, lovely device, and it was the Remarkable 1. It wasn't long, but before I found out there were loads more. And obviously, I'm really privileged and grateful that you guys enable me by watching these things, enable me to actually try out more and get the wider experience. And I would still be happy if I just bought the Remarkable 1. I'd still be loving it, frankly. I'd still be absolutely enjoying using it. Or if I'd have upgraded to the Remarkable 2 and just carried on using this, again, I would be absolutely fine. But they haven't been the very, very best devices of all. The Remarkable 1, I would have perhaps got a little bit frustrated at the lower battery life. The Remarkable 2, the 2-week battery life is brilliant. You know, it's really good. Okay, so that's that. But in at number 5, then, the Note Air 2 Plus. So the Note Air 2 Plus, absolutely loved using this. You know, I was just absolutely thrilled when they sent this. I really was, because, well, for lots of reasons. But although I didn't absolutely hate the Note Air 2, and it's a brilliant device, I didn't really like the blue, and I thought it was a bit bold. And when they brought this out, I thought, wow, this is actually my kind of color. It's kind of beautiful dark green, and I really thought this was just absolutely the business. You know, I just really, I'd say I loved using it. I just thought it was fabulous. And it is fabulous. It still is absolutely excellent. It's finally was the books that I wanted to use. At the same time, they made lots of upgrades. They made lots of updates, especially in terms of the handwriting recognition. And the kind of global handwriting recognition is really good now. And what I liked doing on this straight away was actually using Google Drive to write. And somebody asked earlier on about what's some of the best devices for serious writers. Well, this Note 2 Plus is excellent for writing in Google Docs. This Note 2 Plus is excellent for writing in Google Docs because you can use the global handwriting recognition. So if I go ahead and go to the bottom of this, some old notes about IPvo. Go edit. And now I have the handwriting recognition input here, this global handwriting recognition. And it's pretty darn accurate. I hope it's going to get it. Yep. You see, even quite scruffy. I was also saying, wow, this thing has been made for me, surely, because that's what I want to do. I like writing with a pen, but I need typed text. It's excellent. It's absolutely fantastic. It has a great feature set. Great set of cases came out with this one and the other case that they made for the Note 2 itself. Fabulous cases. Really, really premium. The Pen 2 Pro and everything had a great premium feel without being so expensive, so much more expensive than the Remarkable 2. It was just a good, solid price, in my opinion. Great device. Absolutely fantastic. And this, if you're just looking for a notebook replacement, you know you don't want to type on it properly, all of those things, then this is still absolutely the business. I really loved using this. It's number 5. Number 4, it probably won't surprise you to learn, it's a similar device. Next one that I've loved using has been the Tab Ultra. Tab Ultra is a fantastic device. I would strongly recommend that you have a look at this. The upgrade from the Note 2 Plus isn't so much that it's going to break the bank. This is an absolutely fabulous device. Now you've got things like your fingerprint reader, which works really well, and you've got the keyboard case, or you can use the non-keyboard case as well. This is the business now. Then the business was the Note 2 Plus. That was the one, and this is the business now. It was all of what the Note 2 Plus was, and better. I really like the keyboard case as well, and this is the first time I was actively finding things to do to move over to Eink. So I actively think to myself, I would have this next to my computer at work, or my laptop just in front of me one side, and I've got this next to it, and Outlook would probably be open on my computer, and I would think, right, I've got to type an email, and I would just turn to this. I would turn to this. I would not do a good job of showing you how easy it is to open now. Turn to this, and I would swipe up. I would open up Outlook, and I'd be typing away in moments on this device. And I just think, like, this is the business now. It looks great on this screen. Absolutely fantastic. Need to write a new email. Pop the pen off to the side. It's fantastic. I just think the screen modes, everything with the GPU, this is a fabulous, fabulous device. It is, yeah. I hope you're getting my enthusiasm for it, because it is a really, really good device. All the others basically have just replaced paper with a few extra features. This is now where I'm actually finding things that I want to do. I want to use this device. I want to use them all, but I really do. So let me know in the comments as well, what devices have you really loved using? It's a subjective thing, isn't it? Absolutely. And it should be. We have this subjective experience as well as the purely objective experience with our devices. So I absolutely, number 4, this one. But, it might surprise you. Devices that I have loved using. And back when it was brand new and it was amazing. The Quirklogic paper. Yeah, absolutely loved using this device. I've talked about it a fair bit already on this stream. But the reason I love this device, it felt like the platform was really made for me. The Sony hardware is good. It is even, it's quite old now, but it was still standing up to it. The pen wasn't quite there. But within that, the Sony hardware did stand up 2 years ago, 1 year ago, when I was using this device for months. This is still probably one of the longest term devices that I've used as my daily work driver. I really lived on it for sort of 1.5 school terms, and I went back to it several times when they did updates and everything. I was always pleased with it. The platform felt like it worked well for me. The Inkworks platform, the way I could share with my screen, the way I could share it with my students, it all worked well for me. They even made changes based on my feedback, which was really gratifying to see as well. Funny enough, to make the battery life better, because it used to just pull up. It used to constantly be connected to the Wi-Fi, and I said, look, you need to find a way to make the device last for a week rather than just a day and a half that they were getting out of it initially. And they changed things about the way that it was presenting as well. They changed the web app, so it showed everything on the screen rather than just this small kind of box. It fitted a full landscape screen. So it's a really excellent thing. And the platform itself was a little bit quirky at time, but once you found out how it worked, it was really, really good. One thing I loved about it was that select was so easy, because you'd select something by doing a single finger like circle around it, and then it would sort of like, it would look like it was selected, and you can move it around with 2 fingers. It also had the infinite canvas, which was fantastic. So you could, at any point, you had sort of A4 view. Okay, that was your home view, if you like, was sort of an A4 area, and then you could just pull off to the side and you could carry on writing. And then at any point you could get back to the kind of home view by double tapping the screen, and hey presto, you'd be back. So you had this infinite canvas, but you could also get back to a sort of home view. So it was a way to build out like spider diagrams really, really easily. The pen had different nibs, so you could choose whether you preferred a more graphite or a more pen-like feeling. And the split screen was excellent. As I've already said, I had my teaching notes one side and the screen I was sharing on the other side. It was great. This was an excellent device. This has been a device that I have absolutely loved using. Okay, so fabulous. Right, on to number 2 then. Probably narrowing it down now. Perhaps you're guessing what number 2 and number 1 is going to be. But number 2, the device that I've loved using, has been the Boox Max Lumi. I mean, just look at the absolutely massive screen. It's just absolutely fabulous, for lots of different reasons. Really, I think the fact that you could have that screen, the fact that you could have that split screen view and have essentially an A5 size for 2 different apps, okay, was absolutely brilliant. Loved using this device. It isn't heavy. It's certainly nowhere near as heavy as a laptop. It is an excellent, excellent device. I can't wait to try the future 13.3 lineup from Boox, because they're going to be so powerful. One day, as somebody's already mentioned it, one day we will have a Tab X Ultra Color. I don't know that for sure. Of course, Boox hasn't told me this, but I am banking on there'll be this true machine which can finally replace most of what I do on a laptop. And that will be A4 sized. It will be color screen. It'll have a keyboard case. It will be really, really great. And of course, it'll have all the things we expect from our Eink tablets. Fantastic low latency pen, a great clear and crisp screen. You know, it'll have everything. Let's hope. That's the dream anyway. The promised land. You can do it, Boox. We believe in you. At some point soon, that's what we really want, and I will spend the money to get it. Okay. So yeah, I just feel like the Max Lumi 2, I loved it because I felt like I could do anything on it. And even if I forgot my laptop at a meeting or something like that, I could always get onto the cloud portal. I could always find all my documents here on the device. I could use this to do just about anything that I needed it to do, really. And of course, screen share is good on it as well. Screen share just through Wi-Fi, through Miracast, works really well as well. Right, that's that. And so the device that I have, hand on heart, most loved using throughout my use of these for work, because I do use these mainly for work, has been the Supernote. I can kind of sense there's a hooray somewhere in the in the audience there, because, you know, if you're a fan of Supernote, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. You know why I have loved using this device, because they love using it. They love improving this device. And I think that's a really, really great thing about it. They love thinking about this device and making it more user-friendly for us, giving us features that are going to help us in our work. And I think it's absolutely fabulous. I love the pen and screen feel. It's so different to any of the other devices, but it is so good. If you haven't used it yet, you know, you'll be surprised when you first use it and you'll wonder, oh, is this really that good? Everyone said this is brilliant. You'll wonder like, oh, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. It feels different. It feels like a rollerball rather than a pencil. It's not a frictiony surface. That's very zoomed in, isn't it? And that's why it's wobbling so much. So I'm going to go back out. It's it's not a frictiony surface in that kind of rough way. There is friction as in opposing the pen, but it feels like your pen is gliding through through some premium paper, some nice soft paper. You know, that kind of bed of paper. If you're someone who has to write on 2 or 3 sheets of paper, this feels like that. This doesn't feel anything like you're writing on the desk. It feels like you're writing on a bed of paper. I love little features like this, right? They added this in rather than having, they haven't put an eraser on here, but rather than put an eraser on their pens or a button that gets in the way and is awkward to press, they just said, well, tap the screen and erase, right? I mean, it's great. So what I learned recently, by the way, if you're ever having problems, is that the 2 fingers need to be sort of above what they call the pen shadow. So if I look here, there's a kind of shadow of the pen. So basically anywhere in this area, if I press this, it won't work as an eraser, look, because that's the kind of palm rejection zone. But as soon as I go above that, above the pen shadow, the 2-finger touch really works really well. If you buy this, I strongly recommend you settle down with the manual for a bit and really have a good read, because it's really powerful as long as you know all of the features, including those gestures and things like that. Great device. I've loved using this the most just because of those things, because it just feels like everything is thought out. Yes, you can't do everything. Of course, I haven't been able to find different things. I honestly haven't used the email on it. I honestly haven't used the calendar on it, even though they would be great to use, but that is not the reason to buy this. I mean, obviously tried them and checked they work so I could review them for you, but there hasn't been something I've integrated into my daily use case. I could commit to that, but I'm not going to. The handwriting recognition is very good. You know, and if it was email and calendar that I wanted to use, I definitely. Then this is the device for you. If you, I think I lagged a bit there, so I'm just going to say that bit again. If you do want to do serious writing on it, then you can do that as well. But as a notebook replacement for work, this is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I'm using it at work now. It's amazing. I just like writing on it. The thing I do seek to do on it, I don't seek out extra things to do, but I do seek out opportunities to do some writing with it. It's absolutely fabulous. I like the features that when they bring out an extra feature, they've considered it. I love the fact that they published that and they published that path. They're amazing. Okay, they're really excellent. When you settle in to write something, when you settle in to write on the Supernote, I just feel transported into like a world of focus. I just feel really focused. Today, I sat and I wrote. These are some outlines for some scripts that I'm thinking of making videos on. And I'm going to have them as digital text, of course, because it's got this automatic handwriting recognition now. It's great. And I just felt like I was just focusing. I felt like I was writing with a good fountain pen on some wonderful paper. Right, that is all the planned content. So just some other things just to have a quick look about in the comments. Great to see you. Engineering studies, drawing graphs and shapes. I do recommend books for students. I think learning on it is excellent, but there are so many you could use. But I think for drawing graphs and also reading and also working with like writing to represent calculations and things, engineering studies, I think books is probably the way to go. a couple of questions for your Q&A. So, okay, hope you're there. Oh, yes, there they come. Hello, hello. How expensive is this? I guess you're asking about the Supernote. Supernote is one of the more expensive devices, and unfortunately, if you're in the UK, I don't know if you are, sir or madam, but if you are in the UK, then there's no direct import. You have to kind of import it from the EU, which has already been imported into the EU, so you're kind of paying double tax on it, really. So honestly, I find it difficult to recommend to people in the UK because the price just gets absolutely silly for what it is. I would think, whereas you can buy a Boox Tab Ultra tomorrow on Amazon and it'll be there the next day. I honestly think if you're in the UK, this is probably not the one to go for. The sort of baseline price is going to be about 600 quid for this size, and then you're going to add the extras and then tax on top of that. But if you're in the US, there's good news because they sell directly there. And if you're in the EU, there's a company called Scribe, which have no affiliation with myself with the Gorilla thing, but the Scribe do have it in the EU, and that's where to get it from if you are in the UK. Yeah. Color A4 Boox Tab Ultra literally be day one for me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'd buy it straight away. Culmination of features in a single device is exactly what I've been waiting for. Hope it will become a reality soon. Absolutely, so do I. How do I rate modern color screens? I can pick one up for you if you like. Yeah, they're okay. I wonder if you could migrate to Eink or have to adapt to grayscale because of the color ink poor quality. So yeah, so they're currently up to Kaleido 3, I think. Whereas most devices that actually have color in them at the minute are Kaleido 2 Plus. So this is a Big Me B1 Pro Max Plus color. Oh, incidentally, yeah, I made the video Big Me Books and Boyu. That's really funny. And somebody commented, I thought it was an excellent comment. You just made this because they all start with B. So I'm also going to do Kindle versus Kobo. And I'm going to do Remarkable versus Rata Supernote. So watch this space. But actually, those comparisons make sense as well. Can you already see on here? Can you already see how the Eink screen is a bit darker? You might be able to see that. And Voya's just made a fabulous comparison of screen color. If I put them side by side, you might be able to see. In fact, you can't see it now because the backlights are on. I'll turn the backlights right off. You see that? That's quite dark, isn't it, compared to this one? And that's because the Kaleido works with having a color filter. So essentially, it's taking the light, it's reflecting it back through, and then it's coming back through a set of color filters. So it looks actually fabulous with the lights on. And if I then go to some books, this is the one I normally show because he doesn't like Da Vinci. And you can see it looks good. It does look good. But you can also see that the refresh is quite slow. That's the last page. That's why it's not going any further. What's wrong with it? There we are. And the colors look quite good. They do. Sure. Yeah, pinch to do. But can you see it's not a very smooth scrolling thing, and then you get this thing here, and then there's quite a lot of ghosting as well. And I can do a screen refresh, but even when I do that screen refresh, then I leave that thing there as well. Yeah. You know, Big Me, this device can do so much, but it's a bit infuriating to use, I'll be honest with you. It's just not intuitive to use at all. Where's the menu gone? They need to work on their operating system to make it absolutely intuitive to use, really. So I hope that answers your question. Like, color does look good if you've got the backlights on. It's a bit darker than the other ones. It's not as crisp as the other ones. It's not got as many pixels per inch. There it's starting to work out okay now, isn't it? There is a shortcut for screen refresh. There you are. You know, and that looks good. I think that's nice to look at. I don't know why it keeps doing that loading thing, isn't it? Oh, there you are. That's not great, is it? So let's just look at this little bit of painting. Let's just look at zoom in on our eyes for you. So the color Eink does look good, but you can see it's quite pixelated. It doesn't have the contrast of the black and white screen yet. This is Kaleido, so this works differently to the latest one, which is Gallery. And Gallery looks, it works in a slightly different way. Gallery actually has the 3 primary colors of Eink as pixels. So this is actually, let's say, reflecting light, or using the reflected light from the front light, passing through a color filter, and then coming back at you with having certain colors filtered out, and now it looks at these certain colors. It only has a color resolution of high hundreds of dots per inch, has a better black and white resolution than that, but that means you're getting this pixelated look. It isn't looking perfect. It's a nice to have at this point, and I think that other companies would do a better job of optimizing for different apps and not having this occur. Close the the app crashing. But it does look good, but it isn't perfect yet. It's basically the answer. And the screen refresh is quite slow. And incidentally, this does have different screen modes that you can play about with. Here's a picture, here's a photo. And you can see again, it looks good, right? Looks fab. But it doesn't look anywhere near as good as a LCD screen does. And I think that the gallery will look, look like a piece of paper, frankly, and it will be high 200s resolution. It'll be fabulous. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Moving on, you just asked us a follow-up, I think. Thank you for showing the screen side by side. Clearly the screen looks without backlight just as great as my old pocketbook, yeah, from circa 2010. Yeah, exactly. So it is taking that step back. I mean, I never use this screen without the backlights being on, at least sort of 50-ish%. And that's going to have a hit on your battery life as well. And it's more light that you don't necessarily need. Cool. Okay, so then you have a couple more. So all right, we don't mind. We don't mind. Let's answer these questions. Any more questions, just pop them in the chat, please. Which device I think most replicates the feeling of using a fountain pen the most? Definitely the Supernote. No, that's a quick answer. If you like premium pens, and if you're the type of person that doesn't mind spending money on a pen, if you're the type of person that thinks, I don't want to write my name with anything, give me a premium pen, and actually gets excited about using nice pens, Supernote is the way to go. I do have a stylus comparison, by the way. There's lots of options out there. And most of them work on this Wacom EMR. So there are lots of cool options. I've got a full comparison video where I go through all these different options there, different types of pens you can use. But the feel depends on the nib, basically. The nib and the screen is what dictates the feel. Okay, and then lastly, on Android Eink tablets, which software do you use for reading PDF annotating? So just the built-in reader, basically. So that most of them have done a really good job, apart from Kindle, of making a really usable reading app that lets you write on the screen. So when I open a PDF in the Supernote, for instance, it opens up in its own software, the PDF document. When I open up a PDF on the books, it opens the the PDF in what's called Neo Reader. So if I exit split screen on this, go home, yeah, and I go into any PDF. I think I've got many PDFs on this one, do I? No, I'll show it on a different one. It's just going to open it in the PDF, the Neo Reader, the reading app, basically. Yeah. So let's go into evidence review for great teaching. And this which is called Neo Reader on Books. And this is very good because you've essentially got all of your note-taking tools here on the device that you can use on any page here. And it works, the latency is just as good as in the note-taking app here as well. So essentially you just live in the Neo Reader, you live in the you live in the reading app, but you take your notes on a PDF just fine. You can also use split view in here, which I've talked about. I love that quite a lot. And you can also use in the navigation article mode or crop mode, whereby you can actually select the area you want to see. So I just have one. All of this document is printed in that area, so I can make it full screen. And now when I do change the page, you can see it just shows me the text area rather than the whole thing. Make sense? Okay, so yeah, the reading app for PDFs is what you use essentially. Although you can use other third-party reading apps because they're Android tablets. Cool. I think that's all just now. There's a couple more here. Quick question about the Supernote. Is it easy to use the A6X for drawing diagrams, or would you strongly advise A5X for that? So I love the size of A6X just being, yeah, the A6X is excellent. So the A6X is this size. It is usable. I just find a little bit cramped for drawing any kind of large diagram on here. For instance, actually, I did a drawing on here just the other day. It's not my best work. Don't even actually know what notepad I drew it in, because I'm terrible for labeling them up. This was me exploring where there were bumps in the Ultra. Should be still the front cover. It wasn't my tractor drawing. I did a drawing on it the other day, and I did kind of wish that I had a bit more room. I'll be honest with you. So it was whilst I was traveling, and we went into the Modern Art Gallery in London, which was fabulous. Tate Modern, it's an absolutely great place to go. And I did think to myself, partway through the drawing, I think, oh, I just wish I had a little bit more room. So I think if you need to be neat with your drawing, then I would go bigger. But you can draw on that small size if the drawings don't need to be especially neat. They just need to be clear. Cool. Okay. Miss Tree made it. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for the compliment. My hairdresser will be thrilled. Thank you. I'm a physics student. I'm looking for something to read textbooks and solve problems. Eink seems very good for this. Yeah, absolutely. It's the way to go. It's nice to do pinch zooming. So should I go for an iPad? No, I don't think so. I think just personally, you can do pinch zooming. I actually turned that. You can see I've got the hand recognition off because of the accidental touches, but pinch zooming does work. Might not in this app here, or perhaps I've got it off somewhere as well. But honestly, for reading, like using the article mode is the way to go, and just sort of cropping to the area that you want. If you want the full screen, but you want it on this, if you want it to the full size, you go article mode, more, and you can go top and bottom like this, and then you can go the full. And so now every single time I do a page turn, what it's going to do is show me the top of the screen, and I'm going to rotate the whole device. So it'll show me the top of the screen, then it will show me the bottom of the screen, the top of the page, bottom of the page, right? And then it's full size. So every single page turn, I'm seeing it's still A4 size. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I didn't touch on accessibility. Sorry, that is something that I should definitely do a full chat on. Tate is awesome indeed. Yes, thank you very much. What a wonderful place to be. Okay, that is all I reckon for today, everybody. I hope that's been useful for you. Leave any comments in the full comment section as well of things you'd like to see next. I will be doing these reasonably regularly, sort of every fortnight. I'm very much hoping that we'll get Voya and Brandon again for another one. Cheers. That's very, very, very kind. Say on, what's my favorite drink? Well, I'm just enjoying some non-alcoholic beer because I certainly wouldn't want to be drinking whilst live streaming. That would be a bad idea. Let's say coffee. Yeah, I'm a big coffee drinker. Again, though, I wouldn't be drinking coffee at this time of night because I'd be up all night. But thank you so much for everybody for joining for the live stream, and I will see you next time. And I will also, yes, I will also cut this up probably into some shorter videos as well. So if you are watching or you just got this at the end, then be aware of that. But the way to recognize, if you've already seen this, if you've already seen all my live streams, then what I'm going to do with the thumbnails, if they're a cut up video and you've already been on a live stream, then the thumbnail will be like a white background. Okay, so it'll be probably my face or some device or something, but the main color, the background will be white. If it's not a white background, then it will be content that I've filmed and edited specifically for a video without any ums or ahs or anything like that. So you'll know it's new content. But I do think it's really useful, and thanks, I asked this question. It's been a really positive response. It's really useful to make this into smaller snippets because some of you, it works for your time zone. Some of you, it works really well for whatever else you need to do in your day. It works really well to sit with me for an hour and listen and ask questions and everything. And I want to give you that opportunity to do that. But for some of you, it is best for you just to catch the snippets in their edited form and sort of enjoy them and digest them in that way. It also allows that content to be easily searched. So some of your questions are really excellent. And what I can do is I can take really short questions and make just videos that respond to really short questions, to really specific questions that are really short. And that works really well for serving you guys as an audience to try and find out about these devices. So I hope that's okay with you all. It's not me being lazy. It's just me actually wanting to put as much content as I can out there for you in a realistic kind of time frame, which it has to fit in with my life as well, of course, because I'm a busy professional like many of you guys are as well. Fantastic to see you all once more. I'm getting pretty excited as well. Thanks, Mystery, for that as well. Thank you so much for being part of the audience. I'm hugely grateful. In fact, I will show this to you on my planner. One thing I have on a Monday, I go, one nice thing about Supernote is you can do hyperlinks to different pages. On a Monday, you can see, I hope. No, the other one. Yeah, be grateful. So I on a B Monday then. I just have the top there, gratitude, because I am massively grateful for you guys being in the audience, and it's brilliant that you're willing to spend time and hang out with me. It's, yeah, very grateful. Thank you very much. And good evening to you all, or good afternoon, wherever you are.